In this tutorial, let us learn how to draw basic shapes and some of the work around for those shapes. In the toolbox, you have the rectangle tool, and if I right click in the rectangle tool, you have the varieties of different other shapes. And along with that, you also have the shortcut key that is shown along with the shape. So for rectangle tool, the keyboard shortcut is M, and for ellipse tool, it is L. So select the rectangle tool. For drawing the rectangle, it can be any size or any shape. Or if you want to draw a rectangle with same height and same width so that it becomes a square, then you'll have to press Shift key in your keyboard and drag it along so that you get a perfect square. A rectangle can also be drawn from a center. So suppose if I want this to be the center of my rectangle, then I can click there, and once you've clicked your mouse, press Alt key, and that allows you to draw a rectangle but with a different height and width. But if you want to draw a perfect square with the center maintained, then you'll have to press Shift key along with your Alt key and draw a rectangle which has the center that you have selected. Now in the toolbox, you have the selection tool. The first tool is the selection tool, which allows you to select the objects or the shapes. And this tool can be used for selecting, for moving the shapes, or it can also be used to resize your shapes. Now in order to delete the shapes, you can select with your selection tool, select the shape or the object and press delete key in your keyboard. Or you can also select multiple shapes by dragging your mouse along the two shapes, and once you have selected two shapes, you can also delete them. Another way to select multiple shapes is to press Shift key in your keyboard, select the shapes one by one, and then those shapes will be selected. Now if you want to bring the shape to the center of your page, let's say I want to bring this shape to the center of the page, you can see that the center is being detected, and you can see that it is aligned to the center of your document. And for drawing the ellipse, you can also use the same method of drawing your rectangle. So once I have selected the ellipse tool, I can make different ellipses. These are the ellipses, but not the actual circles. So if you want to draw a perfect circle, you can press Shift key again and drag along your mouse so that you get a perfect circle. So for now, I'm going to change a different color so that you can see the differences between the circle and the square. Here, if I want to draw it from the center of my square, then you'll have to click your mouse, press Alt key, and that allows you to maintain the center. But if you want a perfect circle, you'll have to press Shift key along with that, and then that will allow you to maintain the center as well as the constraint of the circle. So for drawing other shapes like polygon, which will have many corners, so for drawing that, you can directly click that and it will give you a polygon which you have already drawn before. So if I want to change something about the polygon, like if I want to change the number of the corners, then you'll have to click just once. You'll have to click just once in your screen, and you can change the sides or the corners from this area. Like let's say I want to draw it for 7 sides, and if I draw it, I'll get a polygon of 7 sides. Let's see the next one, that is the Start tool. Start tool is also kind of similar with the polygon tool. If you just click once, you'll get the option to edit the points. So if I want to let it remain as 5, I can draw in that area. Or once I've selected that tool, that Start tool, then I can use the same method that I've drawn the circle to maintain the center and the constraint of the star. And in order to do that, you'll have to press Alt key and the Shift key. So for changing the color, you can change from the fill color, which for filling color and strokes, for which fill colors and strokes we'll discuss in some of our next tutorials. But for now, I'll keep the fill color as white. So for any kind of shapes, you can press the Alt key to maintain the center and press Shift key in order to maintain the constraint. Now for copying any shape, you can select that shape, press Alt key and click your mouse, don't release the mouse, and you can make a duplicate of that shape. It can be a circle, it can be a rectangle, or it can be any other shape. Now if I press Ctrl and D, you'll also get a duplicate of that particular shape. You can also resize multiple of those shapes at the same time. So for that, you'll have to select those shapes, and you can resize at the same time. And let me duplicate one more. Now if you observe carefully, if I select this rectangle and zoom in, there are one dot in each corner of the rectangle, and if I click there and drag along the mouse, you get a curve around the corner of the rectangles. Now in order to make that curve in just one of the corner, you will have to select that dot first and drag it along. Then you get a rounded corner in just one side of the corner, which can also be done in multiple corners. Like if I select 1 and 2 here and drag it along your mouse, you get a curve around these two corners. So it is not just for two corners only, it can be 3 also. So if I select these 3 by pressing shift, you can select those dots one by one. So I've selected these 3, and if I drag from any of those 3, you will be able to make the corners curved. Now that we have seen how to draw rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, we are left with line segment. So for line segment, whenever you draw a line segment, it can be to any direction, but to make that line appear, you'll have to make sure that in the properties panel and within the stroke, you'll have to increase the point of the line so that the line can be seen. In order to make a line straight, you'll have to press shift key in your keyboard and then draw a line so it becomes a straight line along the horizon, or it can be a straight line vertically. So for a perfect horizontal and vertical line, you should press shift key in your keyboard, and then after that again draw the line. So that is all about the shapes, and in the next tutorial we'll be learning about filling up these shapes in a variety of ways.